work. Oh, it's a little bitter out. And I got off work early, so I have an extra hour daylight. So, we're gonna get Dinky going. Dinky's drivable, kinda. The front mounts, if you remember, are blown out in here. I tried JB welding them on, which worked well in the summer months, but it has cooled off a lot. And now whenever I JB weld it, it just gets brittle and breaks off. Like, I can't even do a casual ride to Walmart without it breaking off. So, JB weld's not an option anymore. I'm gonna actually heat the frame up with a torch to get it warm. See if I can get like a wire grill brush or something there and clean up the metal a bit and get the transmission in the position it's supposed to be while jacked up. And I'm going to try getting up in there at the welder, because remember, the wheels are welded to this thing, so they can't come off. I'm going to try welding the transmission supports onto the frame, which will make the frame more brittle. I hope it'll work, but I'm worried it's going to crack the frame when I do something crazy. But we'll see. I can't afford to fix this the right way now, so we're going to fix it the getaway. And this four-wheeler no longer has spark. It's not from the spark plug. It is from the CDI or something, so that will need investigated later. So right now I just gotta get the hell out of my way. Then I'm gonna put Dinky and park it up by the shed. I wonder if I have room to work in the shed. I'm gonna make a little bit of room so I can work in the shed, at least just to pop Dinky's ass in it. Cold start. Tired cold start. Oops. It was covered with snow, and it's white. Kind of blended in. Oh! Ah! Cold snow in my eyes! I can't even get up to speed. Okay, there we go. hard time getting out of here. Oh. Oh shit, it's right. So I wanted to weld right there in the seam where the metal comes out and goes there. There's normally a seam there on a stock transmission, but because I lowered Dinky in the rear, that metal's way up there, so I can't weld there. So what I'm probably gonna have to do is tip Dinky on its side and just weld two of the lines going down. This is going to be really hard to pull off. And it means if I want to undo it, it's going to be really hard to undo, and it probably won't be possible with the current set of tools. I'll need a smaller angle grinder to undo this. And I guess I have autofocus turned off on my camera because it is not focusing when it failed to focus. Hey, you see, I'm going to take my sledgehammer. Oh, that's been getting chewed up from the transmission rocking around. I'm going to take my sledgehammer and tap this thing into the correct position. And then I'm going to, if I look down here, I can just weld those creases there. God, that's dirty. I have no idea how I'm going to get to that. I don't think I own a wire brush. I have a file. Could file it a bit. I guess this will be my file. Because this actually has a fairly nice edge. I can probably make the material bolt. Just now, to show you guys why I don't like the 930s. I don't like the MST series. Because all these aluminum transmissions have this problem. I guess a little chewed up. Parts are knocked out over here. We're leaking oil out the side. Little chips everywhere. I mean, bolt holes blow out on them. They're aluminum. Aluminum is a fragile metal. That's why I go on about how great the 2300 is, because this doesn't happen on a 2300. None of these problems happen on a 2300. And that doesn't happen either because they have bigger axles and hubs. I'm glad I didn't start welding. I would have started a fire. We're leaking gas, and I gotta fix that now. I was gonna just tape the cap off, but I couldn't find any tape, and I didn't want to go inside, so we're just siphoning it out, and I'm holding the majority of the gas at bay with a rag. Yep, we're lined up. You can see that hole lines up perfectly well. If that bolt hole wasn't super stripped out, I'd be able to put a bolt through it. Now I know what you're probably thinking, why don't I just drill this out bigger and put a bigger bolt in here? Well, one, I can't get in here with a drill. Remember, the wheel doesn't come off. And two, even if I could, I'd also have to drill through the bracket, making the bracket thinner and more likely to break. The transmission needs replaced at some point, but to replace the transmission, I need to replace the rims and wheels, and I can't afford that. So yeah, weld came out pretty sloppy on this bit here, but I was welding up, and my welds never come out good when I was welding up, and that came out kind of sloppy, but I think it'll work. Another issue I was having is because of how cold it is. I couldn't see out of my welding mask both because of shadows and fog. I really could use somebody using a bright flashlight holding a light down here, and that would have made it so much easier, but I didn't have that. And I can see why I'm having issues shifting there, and that's all bent. I'll have to pry that straight again. That's been getting bent because the thing's been rocking around. Oh, hey, look, I got rust on my belt because it's been sitting in one position for so long without moving. Pulley rust is getting on the belt. So yeah, I'm gonna pry that straight and take her for a test drive. That feels nice. Nothing like warming your hands over the console of a 1940s television. This used to be an RCA Victor television. Really did. There's a project I picked on before I really knew about electronics like I do now. I would have been able to fix it now. All it needed was a recap, but I didn't know that back then. Okay, and I think it needed a horizontal output tube, but the thing rasterized and it would have worked with just a recap. Oh, the tube was worn out too as well. The picture tube was pretty worn. I already take back that assessment I said about the picture tube being worn, because I've picked up TVs that I thought had a worn tube, but they're just tired and needed some time to wake up. And it might have still been savable. I have nothing smaller, so I want you to know how excessive this feels when... Hell, if I had a flathead screwdriver in my hands, I could probably get away with that. But I was hoping for a tiny crowbar, but I don't own one, so bleh. You know, I really like this rack for this right now. This makes filling my gas so much easier. The safety can has the safety stuff broken on it. I'm just propping it forward with my leg and watching it fill. This is so much easier than holding a 5-gallon can up in the air for a couple minutes. It still pours as slow as a safety can because the inlet and outlet are in the same hole. Also, this is like the first time I'm glad I have ethanol in my fuel, because I've gotten quite a bit of snow in the gas cap every time I take the gas cap off, but since ethanol dissolves in the water, the ethanol will absorb all the snow and basically make the snow, it'll decrease the octane, but it should still burn it just fine. So that's kind of a nice feature to have. For once, ethanol, you do something I like. This motor's got issues and it was on its side. Time for the smoke test. Well, that's not normally a thing that happens. Throttle jam. It worked earlier. What the hell? What? It worked earlier. I can't move the throttle anymore. Hey, this cracked. That wasn't cracked in the summer. If nothing breaks till then, next paycheck, I actually am going to buy a tire and rim for Dinky. It'll be the last bit of money I sink into it. Anything else that breaks stays broke until I'm in a new house. I richened my mixture a little so I wouldn't stall out so much. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to blow donuts with a tire like that. Actually, Dinky's got excellent traction right now. Even with the tire like that, I have great traction. All the Ford needs is a belt right now. And now that I've richened up my mixture, I got way more low-end torque again. Whoa! train needs a new spark plug because it's gummed up because of its oil burning issue. You need a new belt because of your belt destroying issue. And you need a new rear end, or at least a lot of work done on the one you have. If I can find a bunch of lead, I want to try. This thing ripped the splines off the rear. And where I welded the teeth together, it broke the teeth off on the Spider. So, no, welding rear ends, that's not feasible if you're going to put any kind of power to it. Probably can get away with it a single. You're not welding a twin and having good luck. I call BS on that. Not with a 203, not with a Spicy. You're not doing it. Welding makes the metal too brittle. It makes your teeth break off. And, you know, honestly, that thing held up for a few weeks with a welded rear end. But as soon as I started driving that thing on pavement, it didn't hold up no more. I forgot how buttery smooth Dinky steering is. And the shifter actually feels good again. When they're slopping the transmission, you can feel it when it shifts because the shifting feels very sloppy and hard to figure out which gear you're in, but it feels so tight when everything's tight. I can't wait to warm my hands up over this fire. Oh, exhaust heat. What do you want? Man, I swear, when I turn on the camera, they know. They just want it the hell away. Hey, Buffy. Want me to hold you, Buffy? Are you sure? I mean, I could hold you, Buffy. Alright, I won't hold you. Looks like when Chase is troubleshooting, he took it a bit farther. He took the whole cap off and left it off. There's our little friend CDI there. Huh. Wonder what those wires are about. Man, four-wheelers are complicated compared to tractors. There's all this... There's so much stuff going on here. I guess some tractors are complicated when they start, but I just kind of start yanking wires because I know what the wires are supposed to do. Because they always have a bunch of unnecessary safety stuff. In fact, the only reason the John Deere still has its safety stuff is because my dad drinks, and I figured that it would be best to have it where the engine shuts off if he falls off it. That's really the only reason it has safety stuff. I wonder if our little CDI friend here gets any go-go from this connector, because there's like no... This is a very poor connection because there's almost no friction. Very loose connection. I'm trying to poke around, but this wind is just brutal. That didn't seem like it did much of me wiggling it around. But yeah, who knows? Maybe this weekend I could take Dinky up to the trails. Thinking about it sounds kind of scary. I gotta make sure I have another tractor going. I do not want to get stuck up on the mountain alone, because it's a lot colder and a lot more dangerous. Somebody left one of our forks outside. I just found it up against a house. The wind probably blew it against the house, and it probably was on a table a year or more ago. It's pretty trashed.